All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Raha, Kwadash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessing to the 144,000 and the hope for elect. Shalom, Barakathum. This is going to be another update into the end time prophecy. As you know, as the scriptures say, I didn't really have any precepts lined up, just reacting to the news brothers were going in on. I watched the brother, the elder Amawanga Bar video as well on the topic, and we went into it a little bit last night that they are getting ready to make some moves, man. Okay, they are getting ready to make some moves, and while everybody else is distracted, which we believe a lot of these guys, they're not just distracted, they're distracting people. Okay, which is what they're set up to do. All right, and verse 2 Judges chapter 2 verse 13, go and ye shall receive, pray for a few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom is already prepared for you, watch. All right, and so I've been bringing this precept out a lot, and 2 Judges has been going a lot harder lately because of what was revealed to him, you know, pertains to the time that we're living in today. Okay, and you know, this place, I don't see us really, you know, being here, you know, after this 2028, 2029 area or that election. Okay, I believe, you know, in 2028, that election, if we're even here that long, will be the last one. They're already, queuing up people like J.D. Vance, like you have Erica Kirk endorsing him 3 years out, you know, and all kind of weird behavior going on, man. But this is the main thing I had on the screen as we pulled up here. And we could be out of here a lot sooner, okay? We could be out of here a lot sooner. But I think the year 2026 is definitely going to be the year where it becomes apparent, okay? Everybody that's been going out and bugged out doctrines and having all this heresy, they're all going to be confounded, or they're going to be found out to be, you know, hirelings, you know, essentially. But this is from the presidential actions, the White House page, okay, where he basically outlines Trump's executive orders and his edicts and all of the various, you know, scripts he can write. All right, this is section 1. We've been warning you about what 5G and 6G and how 5G, you know, plays a major role. You know, I believe in testing things that were put in you back in around the 2020, 2021 period. Okay, but 6G is going to take it over the top to the next level. Okay, and why do we have to race for it? Okay, and when they say we, they means we're going to borrow more money than we have, and you're going to pay for it. You American people. Okay. This is it says, by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, I hereby direct, section 1, purpose the next generation of mobile communication networks, 6G. Okay, and what are these generations? What is the number 6 is quite curious. Okay. What is going to be unique about this, and why do we have to upgrade to it? You know? And eventually you won't be able to even ask these questions online, and with critical thought and having conspiracy theory categorized thoughts, you know, how they would categorize it, you know, that's about to be a thing of the past, basically. Okay, you're about to have to shut up and just go to work, whether that job pays you or not, or you know, pays you enough or not. Okay, it says the next generation of mobile communication networks, 6G, will be foundational to the national security, foreign policy, and economic prosperity of the United States. Okay, and so they're tying in cell phone technology with foreign policy and economic prosperity. Why? That should just only be one sector. Okay, why does the internet need to be faster for us to make more money? You know, over wireless, because They're getting ready to put something in you, man. Okay, it says this technology will play a pivotal role in the development and adoption of emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics, and implantable technology. So what ultimately they plan on having these robots that they want walking around everywhere hooked up to these 6G towers, okay, that can get information blazing fast. Okay, they probably will have upgrades to encryption and other upgrades to you know the what do you say what do you call it, the travel distance of it, okay, the permeability of it, as you know, well, you may not know, but you know, the higher the frequency of something, the less, the farther it goes, okay. You know, it can go real fast, but it can't penetrate through walls. You need lower frequencies to penetrate through concrete and deep underground and things of that nature, okay. So we may see some new upgrades on that front. I have to research it. It says 6G will also provide faster, more resilient, and more secure communication networks that can be utilized for national security and public safety purposes. Okay, but see, the real national security threat is who? This right here, the White House. Okay, the U.S. government. They're the number one. Okay, what's the word? Terror ism. Okay, or ist in the world, man. Okay, and they want everybody to adopt this. Now I believe China's already on it. Okay, but you see where this thing is going. It says it is the policy of the United States to lead the world in 6G development. Certain steps are necessary to achieve the goal of this policy, including steadfastly advancing American interests and in the international standard bodies that will play a crucial role in 6G development. Okay, it says and identifying a significant volume of radio frequency spectrum that can be harmonized for 6G networks internationally. Okay, so they want this thing to be global. Okay, you should know where this is going, as you know where to watch and to warn. Okay, and one thing they said that they would be able to do is miracles. This is Revelation 13 and 11. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Okay, and we bring this out all the time. We break this down all the time. This goes into that left, right, red, blue paradigm. Okay, this conservative, liberal, okay, Republican, Democrat. All right, where it gives you this guise of democracy, like he's speaking here, but really he's telling you what's going down. He says, "I hereby direct." Okay, and so if this destroys the environment, if this runs people into debt, okay, if this causes people to have to spend extra money to adapt to a new technology because they make the old one obsolete, you got to get new cell phones and all of this and that, then so be it. You got to do it anyway, because really he's speaking as a dragon. Okay, it says verse 12, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. But Zariah, I thought you said you had to have the mark in order for you to have the beast. Well, it's telling you here there's a first beast before the second one. So which beast brings out the mark, the first or the second one? Don't even make any damn sense, man. It says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Okay, and so part of these miracles we witnessed some of them, but he's going to be able to do this seemingly like magic, man. Imagine all of these drones and these F-16 pilots, or imagine being able to fly a F-22 like a drone. Okay, because this 6G technology is so vast and it's so quick that you can take what's usually a manned air fighter, okay, and to a drone and get anywhere in the world. Okay, that's an upgrade. You can seamlessly do these things with keystrokes on the computer. Okay, and those are likened unto miracles, man. Okay, it says, and deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Okay, so this second beast is making you bow down to the first one. Okay, so the first one didn't have the power to do all these miracles. Okay, the second one didn't have the mark. I mean, or the second one or the first one didn't have the mark or didn't institute the mark. Okay, no, the mark is a means of the second beast making you worship the first one, which is of the same lineage of people, the Romans, the Roman captivity. Okay, and that's what this is, a reincarnation of that. Okay, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Okay, and this is the territory that we're getting ready to go into. Okay, Donald Trump is instituted more executive orders than I've ever seen before on a president, and a lot of them have to do with speech, anti-semantics. Okay, if you know what I'm talking about, and being able to speak out against a particular group of people who are clearly running the government. Okay, reading a little bit more of this, it says, certain steps are necessary to achieve the goal of this policy, including steadfastly advancing American interests and international standards. Bodies that will play a crucial role in 6G development and identifying a significant volume of radio frequency that can be harmonized for 6G. I read that. Okay. My administration has been studying multiple spectrum bands this year to determine what federal spectrum can be reallocated to commercial use for 6G. Okay, so how is it 6G and you have not identified the spectrum of bands to use? You see, the technology should dictate what the bands are, or the frequencies you use. But see, they're telling you this is 6G because really, it's not just an upgrade in technology. It's really going to be a new directive for technology. Okay, all technology going to have to get into this 6G bucket. Okay, because ultimately smartphones are not going to work. You know, making phone calls are not going to work. Okay, a lot of these cell phone telecommunication carriers, your Verizons, your T-Mobiles, okay, they're all gonna play ball, man. That's the reason why the Telecommunications Act, you know, back in the 90s by Bill Clinton, he basically chopped all of the media companies into six, okay? And he allowed for a lot of these cell phone companies to make a lot of mergers, man, you know? So now you have what, 3, 4 carriers in the whole United States? Okay. You see that's by design, okay? It says the Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Communications and Information, Assistant Secretary shall, in consultation with the Assistant to the President for Economic Policy and Assistant to the President for Science and Technology, immediately commence studies and consultation with federal incumbents with operations between 7.1 and 7.4 gigahertz spectrum frequencies. Now I have to look into those, okay, to determine how to relocate their affected systems to other frequencies. Okay, so they're taking over a band of frequencies for 6G. Okay, and I'm curious as to what's unique about these frequencies, because those are pretty high frequencies. Okay, which means they're going to have a lot of these towers built, set up everywhere. They're probably going to be closer to 5G, where there's smaller towers. You don't have these big giant ones sticking out of a cornfield, okay, that can go miles and miles and miles. These will be able to go maybe like a quarter mile each, and they'll have to have them sporadically placed on top of different places, you know, outside of a Starbucks, on top of a building here, you know, on a corner by a bus stop there. All right. And these things are going to monitor you, man. It says no later than 12 months from the date of this memorandum, the Assistant Secretary shall submit to the President through Assistant President for Economic Policy, the Assistant to President for Science and Technology, And the other assistant, I'll just say that results of the studies required under the subsection A of this section, including estimated transition cost and timelines as determined by the assistant secretary. So they're putting a move on this. They want to know an ETA within a year. Okay. And so that's why I say this thing could be, it could go down this year, or at the least, this thing we're gonna be up out of here within the next couple of years, man. You know, at max. You know, I believe that past 2029, I really don't see it. To be honest with you. Okay, you're gonna have that 2028 election, and then boom, that's gonna be it. All right. And we're praying that this thing goes down within the next few months, but it's in due time. Okay. It says the assistant secretary. Oh, Salakia. I skip. It says this submission by the assistant secretary should also demonstrate how such relocations of systems will not materially impair the national security missions or electric grid operations that occur within the 7.1, 7.4 as identified by the Secretary of War and the Director of National Intelligence. Okay, so these are military band frequencies. Okay, that's what I'm gathering from this. Okay, and why is it going this direction, man? Let me see here. I read all of that. Because you're gonna have to get that mark. Okay, and I have to research specifically, but we know the scriptures say what's going to happen to you if you take it, because there's going to be frequencies activated with it. We tell you it's what? We tell you it's this. Okay? This is what we tell you that it is. Revelation 13 and 16. What RFID? What is that? What does the RF stand for? Radio frequency identification. Okay? Look at how small these things can get, man. All right. And this is the version we see a lot, but you're gonna have a version that can go in the forehead as well. Okay. And so you gotta realize what we've been breaking down to you through the apostles and elders on down has been correct this whole time, despite all of the scoffing and all of the distractions. Okay, them wanting to label us particular words because, they're mad because we're rebuking them. All right. But look at what the scriptures say in Revelation 16. Okay, verse 2, it says, and the first went out and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark, okay, of the beast, and upon them which worship the image. Okay? So if you take that, man, a noisome and grievous sore, man, that's gonna come upon you, man. How is that gonna happen? Because they're gonna have radio frequency that they can manipulate outside of you with something that is placed inside of you. Okay? Noisome. It's yeah. Let me see what this word noisome means. A bad nature, thinking, feeling, troublesome, injurious, pernicious, destructive. Okay? Yep, full of labors, annoyances, hardships, pressed. Okay, so they'll probably gonna be able to just control your ass, man. Cause all kind of pain. Ellison was talking about putting things in you so they can detect things in your body that are pathogens that can kill you. But who's to say that that's not the pathogen? That it can't make its own or manipulate your body. Okay. You look at the word helkos, it says a wound producing a discharge, a pus, a sore, an ulcer. Okay, and these things can happen through something called radiation, man. Okay, which is what radio frequencies are. All right, this is what you Americans have to make a decision on coming up pretty soon. Okay, look, he put it in the big beautiful bill. Okay, and people didn't even catch this. He had spectrum designation in the big beautiful bill, man. Okay, and so now he's backing it up with executive action. Okay, it says pursuant to the one big beautiful bill, shall immediately begin the process of identifying the band of spectrum frequencies between 7.125 and 7.4 for reallocation for full power commercial license use cases. Okay, so get ready for these companies like your T-Mobiles, your Verizons, your AT&Ts to be full on announcing. I wouldn't even be surprised if you start seeing announcements at the Super Bowl this year coming up. Okay, about them doing 6G. Okay, I haven't read this full thing, but I guess that's it. But it says here, let me see. Yep, it says these efforts shall include building a coalition of industry and foreign partners that supports the United States' positions on agenda item 1.7. Okay, yeah, so he's about to punch it in. All right, he's getting ready to just go at it, man. Okay, and it says here what Revelation 12 and 12, it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Okay, and so this is what you got to wrap your head around, man. Okay, that the Lord is about to have this devil move, man. Okay, and you're gonna have to be girded up, man. Okay, remember Ephesians 6, starting around verse 10. Okay, putting on the whole armor of the Most High because we're gonna need it. All right. There's probably plenty more I can get on this, but getting ready to go head to camp. But I'll end it here. Lord willing, we'll be back with more on this topic because I'm sure this isn't the last we're gonna hear of it. So, Lord willing, this is edifying. On to the next. Shalom.